Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about why you must put cards on file in your company. Now, this has been huge for our company, and I remember just to hash out this fear from the very beginning of this video. I remember when we did it in ours, and I remember thinking that half these people are just going to cancel because they're going to be unaccepting of it. I remember we had 50 clients. I was like, man, this already isn't enough work to live off of. What are we going to do if we lose half of it? Well, the reality of this is we lost almost nothing. And when we integrated and when we changed, if you have this fear, you need to realize you can look at your whole list of clients. If there's 50, if there's 20, if there's 10, and anybody that's a great payer you've never had issues with, you don't have to be forceful with this. You can grandfather them in. If you have paying issues with somebody, yes, you can say you have to you have to put a card on file. But most of the time, you don't keep clients that aren't paying anyway. And if you were to lose clients that aren't paying, that's a positive thing for your company. So I wanted to hash the fear out before I gave you the reasons that I really think you should do this, especially if you're growing your company. Really, it doesn't matter if you're growing the company or not. We've got some benefits for your company. We've got some benefits for the clients themselves and just some overall benefits. And so first, let's get into a couple of client benefits before we get into why it's good for the company. Number one, convenience. We would have people that loved our service, would always pay, but would purely just forget to send a check. And they would feel bad about that when they call and be like, hey, we haven't had a payment. You'd be, oh, I forgot. I'm so sorry. Please, I'll get that sent out right now. We've taken that issue, that problem, that thing that you have, that one more thing as a homeowner, as a great client of ours that they have to remember, that they have to think about. So that's one piece of convenience. We've taken away the issue of, I got to find a stamp. I got to buy a stamp. You know, a lot of times when you go to mail stuff, you don't have stamps. Now I got to go somewhere to get the stamps if I don't order them. And if I order them, I've got to wait for them. You can see how that's less convenient and how that's not as smooth and how that's not as flowing. And our whole philosophy was, how do we streamline this experience for our clients so they have a better experience? They don't have to think about all these things just to do business with us. So once you take all those things out of the puzzle, we also don't have to think about how this is something that I always have to remember on whatever cadence that is. And now we've streamlined that into our customer portal where clients can just log in and they can see all their past bills. They can see everything. There's never a question. Like, you don't have to worry. The convenience of, you don't have to keep all these bills in a file cabinet somewhere. You can log on and see a rolling 12 months of bills and see exactly when they were paid, see exactly what the bills were, when they came out. That's just right there. And it's just at your fingertips, on your computer, on your phone, to make your life easier, to sync up your service even better. There's even an app with what we use. And this is just, I'm not promoting any certain CRM. We use Service Autopilot. You know, there's a lot that I'm sure can do this, but even the app for Service Autopilot allows them to not just look at all this stuff, not just check on their payments, but also see when their services are upcoming and what services have passed. So it's another thing of convenience of knowing exactly what's going on without having to pick up a phone, without having to do much at all, and to keep it seamless and easy for our clients to do business with us. And that's at the foreground of all of the thoughts that we have, is how do we make our services easier to use, more accessible, and just better all around for everyone that works with us. Number two, fraud. If you're in business and you've talked to any of your bankers, you've talked to anyone around working on your accounts, they're going to suggest to you as the business owner not to be sending out checks to everybody, everyone, try to pay as much stuff with a credit card as possible for the fraud protection. Because of credit cards being a newer thing and checks being an older thing, and people are just comfortable because they've sent a lot of checks over the years. And I get that. People don't give much thought to checks have a lot of fraud possibility. It is your account number. It is your routing number. It is everything someone needs to make a fraudulent transaction or try to duplicate that check. And it's right there, and you're shipping it in the mail. Mail can get lost. Things can get found. Numbers can be used for whatever the case. I don't really know much about how they're used, but I've had fake checks been written in our company, and I've seen these things happen. Those checks versus having stuff go on a credit card, there's 1,000 times more protection on a credit card for any of your fraudulent charges. I just look at how we use Amex in the company, and anytime there is any kind of weird thing that's happened with something we paid, it was fraud. It was even if somebody somehow found a card or whatever it was, a card was stolen. It was so easy to rectify versus the problems that could come up with a check being found or used. There's just a lot of fraud protection that is added layers when it comes to credit cards. And so by integrating this system and putting cards on file, you're also just by nature, making it safer for all of your clients to do business with you in the case that something gets found or there's some kind of fraud in general, which is something that unfortunately I look at back to the check days of, we had several checks that got turned in and they looked like they were like payroll. I don't even know where these checks came from. Luckily we caught it. Luckily it got fixed. But there's times where that can go so far and you don't have the same level of protection. And that is very important, that we protect our clients and we keep them in the safest possible situation here again to do business with us. Now, finally, for your business, cash flow is king. Money coming into your business faster than it goes out of your business is the lifeblood of your business. More money coming into your business than goes out of it is the lifeblood of your business. One of the biggest hangups in business is you bill at the end of the month, you put a net 15, a net 30. That means people have until then to even send the check. And then you might take 60 days to get the money. If somebody doesn't pay, you can be not 1 month of doing service, not 2 months of doing service. You can be 3 months before you even really catch up to it, at least 2 minimum. And that can be a major financial strain on your business. And doing those net 30s, net 60s, whatever the numbers are, it's kind of like financing people's service, which can be very, very challenging when starting a business or growing a business in general. It takes a lot of money and is extremely challenging. So why make it harder? So it helps your cash flow so much to be able to go out and do work, then get paid for it. Go out and do work and then get paid for it, and not have these 30, 60, 90-day waiting periods that come up so often in business when we bill at the end of the month when we've already done services. So cash flow is the last huge advantage, and that's purely for the company. But here again, that's for your clients so you can keep your company growing, so you can do better, add things that make service better, and continue to give a better client experience.